how to crop and straighten photos. How to crop and straighten photos. By the way, cropping is the process of removing portions of a photo to create focus or straighten the composition. And you can use the crop tool to crop and straighten photos in Photoshop. And the crop tool is non-destructive, and you can choose to retain the cropped pixels to optimize the crop boundaries later. And the crop tool, by the way, also provides intuitive methods to straighten a photo while cropping. For all operations, Visual Guides provides an interactive preview. And when you crop or straighten photos, real-time feedback helps you visualize the final results, by the way. And how to crop a photo now. I would like to explain for you how to crop a photo in Photoshop. Generally, we have steps. Step number 1. From the toolbar, you should select the crop tool, this icon, and crop borders display on the edges of the photo. And step number 2, draw a new cropping area or drag the corner and edge handles to specify the crop boundaries in your photo. Step number 3, optional. You should specify the crop options using the control bar, like this screenshot now. This image now explain for you how to crop any photo in Photoshop. And Creative Cloud Crop Tool options bar. Look at this screenshot now. A is meaning aspect ratio menu, and B is meaning swap width and height values, and C is meaning overlay options. And how to size and proportions. How to size and proportions. You should choose a ratio or size for the crop box, and you can also choose a preset and enter your own or even define your own preset values for later use. And how to overlay options. Overlay options is meaning that you can choose a view to display overlay guides while cropping guides, such as rule of thirds and gray and golden ratio are available. And to cycle through all the options, press O. Character. And how to crop options. Crop options is meaning click the setting gear menu to specify additional crop options. And use classic mode is meaning that use classic mode is meaning enable this option if you want to use the crop tool like it was in previous versions of Photoshop CS5 and earlier. And what about auto center preview? Auto center preview is meaning enable this option to place the preview in the center of the canvas. And what's the meaning of show cropped area? Show cropped area is meaning that you can enable this option to display the area that is cropped. And if this option actually is disabled, only the final area is previewed. So what about enable crop shield? Enable crop shield is meaning you can use the crop shield to overlay the cropped areas with a tint. And you can specify also a color and opacity. If you enable auto adjust opacity, and the opacity is reduced when you edit the crop boundaries. So what's the meaning of delete cropped pixels? Delete cropped pixels is meaning disable this option to apply a non-destructive crop and retain pixels outside the crop boundaries. And non-destructive cropping doesn't remove any pixels, by the way, and you can later click the image to see areas outside current crop borders. And enable this option, by the way, to delete any pixels that are outside the crop areas. And these pixels are loosed and are not available for future adjustments. And press right click the crop box to access common crop options from the context menu. Step number 4. You should press enter if you use Windows or return if you use macOS to crop the photo. And for more information on cropping, you should see the video crop and the photo. And the following updates were introduced in the Creative Cloud release for Photoshop CS6. We have options, front image and new presets in the aspect ratio menu. And after that, you should clicking the double arrow icon changes the crop orientation by swapping the width and height values. This icon, by the way, replaces the rotate crop box button. And after that, choosing W and height resolution, width and height resolution from the aspect ratio menu displays a resolution field in the options bar and autofills with width and height values. After that, clicking the clear button clears the values in the width and height fields in the options bar. and if displayed, the value in the resolution field is also cleared, by the way. And after that, the keyboard shortcut for front image has changed from F to 1 for both the crop tool and the perspective crop tool. So what about content aware fill on crop? Content aware fill on crop, introduced in Photoshop CC 2015.5 release. By the way, Photoshop now uses content aware technology to intelligently fill in the gaps when you use the crop tool for straightening or rotating an image, or expanding your canvas beyond the image's original size. And also you should to follow these steps now. We have steps. Step number 1. From the toolbar, you should select the crop tool icon and crop borders display on the edges of the photo. Step number 2. In the options bar, you should select content aware and the default crop rectangle expands to include the whole image. Like this screenshot, this image now is appear for you and explain how to use the handle around the image and straighten or rotate it. And alternatively, expand the canvas beyond the original size of the image. And step number 2, when you are satisfied with the results, you should to click this icon in the options bar to commit the crop operation. And Photoshop intelligently fills in the white and gap areas in the image. For examples, content aware fill on crop. Example 1 and example 2. Note and be careful in this example, please. Content aware, by the way, fill on crop is not supported, by the way, in the classic mode of the crop tool. To disable the classic mode, do the following. We have steps again. Step number 1. With the crop tool selected, click the set additional crop options icon in the toolbar. Step number 2. In the setting menu that appears, deselect use classic mode. Like this screenshot again. This screenshot, this image appear for you and explain how to crop tool and disable the classic mode. So what about straighten a photo while cropping? Straighten a photo while cropping. By the way, if you are using a recent release of Photoshop, you may prefer using content aware fill on crop while straightening images. And you can also straighten a photo while cropping, and the photo is rotated actually and aligned to straighten it, and the canvas is automatically resized to accommodate the rotated pixels, like this screenshot again. Look at this image now. It's meaning rotate, how to rotate the photo using the crop tool to straighten it. And to straighten a photo, do one of the following. You should to place the pointer a little outside the corner handles and drag to rotate the image, and the grid displays inside the crop box and the image rotates behind it. And then click straighten in the control bar, and then using the straighten tool and draw a reference line to straighten the photo. For example, you should to draw a line along the horizon or an edge to straighten the image along it. How to transform perspective. How to transform perspective while cropping. By the way, the perspective crop tool lets you transform the perspective in an image while cropping, and you can't use the perspective crop tool when working with images that contain keystone distortion. And keystone distortion, by the way, occurs when an object is photographed from an angle rather than from a straight-on view. For example, if you take a picture of a tall building from ground level, the edges of the building appear closer to each other at the top than they do at the bottom. Like this screenshot, this image now. Explain for you steps to transform perspective. A is meaning original image, and B adjusting cropping mercury to match the object's edge, and C final image. And we have steps again. Step number 1. To correct image perspective, hold down the crop tool and select the perspective crop tool. And after that, number 2, draw a mercury around the distorted objects. Match the edges of the mercury to the rectangular edges of the object. Step number 3. Press enter if you use Windows or return if you use macOS to complete the perspective crop. And how to resize the canvas using the crop tool. How to resize the canvas using the crop tool. By the way, you can use the crop tool to resize the image canvas. And we have steps again here now. Step number 1, you should from toolbar. From the toolbar, select the crop tool, this icon, for crop borders, display on the edges of the image. Step number 2, you should drag the crop handles outwards to enlarge the canvas. And after that, you can use the Alt Option modifier key to enlarge from all sides. Step number 3, you should press Enter if you use Windows, or Return if you use macOS to confirm the action, sorry. And to resize the canvas, you can also choose image, then choose canvas size. And this change the canvas size or tutorial video understanding canvas size for more information. Thank you.